I may not look the part, but I'm an Irish citizen. I've been to Northern Ireland many times and learned a few special recipes along the way. So, courtesy of my mother-in-law, today we're making Northern Irish soda bread. Let's get cooking. For our soda bread, we will need 3 simple ingredients. Flour, we've got 510 grams of flour already measured into the bowl, that's 4 1/4 cups. Baking soda, hence the name soda bread, and we'll put 1 1/2 teaspoons of baking soda in here and give that a little stir. And the third ingredient is buttermilk. We'll be using 450 milliliters of buttermilk. That is just shy of 2 cups. I'll give that baking soda a stir. And that is all that goes into these. So we're going to make a little well in the center of the bowl here. I'm going to pour our buttermilk in. And give this a stir. I've mixed this about as well as I can with my spatula. Now it's time to flour my hands and dig in a little bit more. Since my hands were going to get messy, I went ahead and turned my skillet on to medium. We'll let that heat up while we quickly pull this together. We don't want to grease it, so I'm using cast iron here. You can use any kind of skillet. You can use, probably don't want to use a nonstick pan because it's not great for those to be heated while empty. And I'm going to go ahead and flour my counter as well. As ever, measurements and full recipe are in the description below. Get a little flour on the hands here and go ahead and kind of dig them into the bowl just to get this soda bread dough pulled together a little bit more. As you can see, we've got a fairly sticky dough, but it is basically pulled together in one cohesive mass. So we're going to turn that out onto our floured counter. Get as much of that dough off of our hands as we can. And go ahead, some of it will pull off as we need, and knead this a few times on the counter just to make sure it pulls together. It is going to be far from smooth, that's fine. This is a pretty rustic kind of a thing, but we do want to make sure it is not super lumpy or there aren't little pockets of unmixed buttermilk left in there. I'm going to clean my hands off and we'll come back and roll this. We will add a little bit more flour to our dough, a little bit on this side too. And a quick note about the shape. I'm going to make this into 8 kind of paving stone shaped sort of semi-rectangular pieces of soda bread. What is traditional is to make this into 4 quarter circles. It's actually called soda farls, like fourths, right? And you can absolutely do that. For this amount of dough, I would make 2 circles and then just cut them into those quarters. I like the rectangular shape because we are going to toast these, and we'll split them, toast them, and fill them with breakfast sausage and bacon and potato bread. And the breakfast sausage and bacon fits better in that rectangular shape. So I've come to do it that way, but the traditional way is those quarter circles. So I'm going to roll this out into a very rough rectangle, and we want it to be somewhere between 1/2 inch and 3/4 of an inch in thickness. These are going to rise in the pan, so if we leave it to like an inch thickness, they're going to be really unwieldy to eat. But that looks, oh, I'd say about right. This is pretty forgiving stuff. You can just kind of inch it back in if you realize it's gotten a little bit too thick. I'm going to fire up the second pan in the back as well, so I can get through these a little more quickly. And I'm going to go ahead and just use a bench scraper here, use a butter knife, nothing fancy required. Cut these into little blocks, and we're going to slide these into the pan. I'm going to test my pan and make sure that it's hot enough. I can do that by sprinkling a little bit of flour in and just watching if it browns quickly at the edges, and I can see the little tiny bits of flour already browning a bit, then I know that it is ready. If the pan is not hot enough, these are going to stick before they brown, and that's no fun. All right, so I'm going to slide these in. We do not want to crowd them, so I'm only going to get 3 in this pan. That'll be fine. I'll get a couple in that one, and we are going to cook these for 5 to 6 minutes per side. Turn them. Obviously cook the tops as well, and then I'll show you how they look at that point, and we will be turning them on their little short narrow ends to toast just a little bit more. We'll see these when they're nice and browned. Our first few sodas have browned nicely on both sides, and we're going to give them another little turn in the pan. Just going to let them stand for no more than a minute on each of these edges, just to finish off the toasting. And once we've done that, we'll have one more step before their overnight rest. And this is our first 3 sodas done. We've toasted the edges. You can see how much they rose in just that little bit of time. So here's the next one that's going to slide into the pan. Here's the one that we just completed. And the last thing we do with these is we set them in a tea towel. We'll wrap them up, and they're going to rest on the kitchen counter overnight. They steam a little bit, and that will get them ready for tomorrow morning. When we will slice them, toast them, and top them. So we'll see you tomorrow morning for some sodas. Our sodas have had their overnight rest in the tea towel. It is time to unwrap them, slice them, and toast them. So here are our finished sodas there. We are going to slice these through the middle, and we're going to toast them in a pan with a little bit of oil. We'll toast on their insides, and then we'll give them a little bit of a toast on the outside as well. So I'll get the heat back up on my pan. All right, we're just going to toast until those insides are a nice light golden brown. Our sodas have toasted up nicely, and it's time to eat them. You can keep it simple with just some butter and jam, but since there's really nothing better than a traditional Northern Irish soda, we're going to fill these up with fried egg, potato bread, which is a Northern Irish delicacy that will make its appearance on the channel in the very next video, sausage, and bacon. This, along with some brown sauce, will fill you up for your whole day, and it'll patch you up if you had a bit of a late night. We hope that you give these a try and check back every Friday at 4 o'clock for a new video.